I said, young man, I got me up. I want to let be like what I say. Now he said, my baby rapping, my old man, I get it. And my kid was doing, I'm breaking the trumpet. On my way, people calling me names. All the trouble I see, I ain't do at the beat. When the suffering, the success, I can't pay the code. Only how I can pay. Sooner or later, my hustle will pay. Never, and I'm rushing myself. Keep it cool, everything I'm a sissy. Too much rushing, I'm probably chasing. One day. One day. I'll get it cool. One day,
I'm gonna pay one day. Enemies can go and see my face. Me I know I'm not watching it. One day, success gonna come my way. I know my hustle gonna pay one day. Enemies can gonna see my face. Me I know I'm not watching it. One day, success gonna come my way. Yeah. My mama was so ashamed. My papa was so angry. My friend was your money. Any mess that will come on and listen. So I'm my way. 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 I'm my I'm on my way to this person that don't give her money. Don't give her money, don't give her money. I won't make my man happy. Won't make Baba happy. Won't make my brothers and sisters to come around me.
Yeah, Capilico. Why you doing the hustle? Why saying the book by the Genesis? Shall come at the fire, shall come at the power. I feel be working on Wednesday. In my look for the ma, in my look for the ma. All in the dark, all in the dark, all in the week, all in the week. All in the sun, the
mama was so ashamed.
My
papa was so angry. My friend was your money. Any mess that will come on that knees. So I'm my way. 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 I'm my
Amando, you are a famous star now.
What's going on? It's July McConnell from Fit First Alright, located at 1655 Elmwood Ave, Princeton, Rhode Island. We take care of all your personal training needs. We have 7 trainers here, including 2 boxing trainers. So whatever your goals, we can help you out. Come through, hit us up 401-588-9517. We are Fit First RI on Instagram and all social media platforms.
and gentlemen. I didn't add myself to the screen. How are you this morning? Welcome to Attorney Commander Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. I'm sorry I'm a little late. We had a little problem with connections, and this usually happens. Murphy's Law, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, okay? So I'm so good to be here this morning and to be with you. And we know that we're not getting much warmth during this weather season. We're in the lower or middle 50s. I don't know what we're going to go up today because I didn't have time to check the news. I've been so busy with my guests getting ready for us to come onto the show. But anyway, my guest is Mr. Chad T. Mason of the African American community. And we'll be here after I take a break to talk about our issues in this community. So without any further ado, let's get into this youth.
Run Your Form Fitness. I do all my training here at Fit First with my cousin Jolan. I specialize in 50 and over clients with functional movement. And I do other clients too, younger groups. I do kids also, but I specialize in functional movement and working with older clients and seniors and getting them to move constantly. You gotta keep moving. If we're not moving, we're losing team, you know what I mean? So Your Form Fitness, we started to correct people's form. When you start out with good form, you usually get good results. So come check us out at Fit First. We are at Cranston.
Well, it's good to be back. As I stated before I took a break, my guest this morning is Mr. Chad T. Mason of the African American community. So let me bring Chad on and let's start this show.
All right. How you doing, Jeff? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, Chad, you're welcome anytime. I'm sorry for the inconvenience we had, man.
That's okay. It happens. You know, we're here now. So
okay, man. So I told you about this video. I'm sure you saw it from the last show. So I just want to play it again so our viewers can see it, because this is the crux of our discussion. Okay, Chad, after the video, we'll get into the interview and you tell our guests who you are and all of that, okay? I just want to get the video out of the way first. So just give me a second or so. Let me get it up. Oh, wrong thing. Let me get it up. Good morning, my African American and Americo-Liberian people. Welcome to Attorney Commander Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. We, as a people, have dealt in ignorance, backwardness, and failure to know who we are and what we are to each other for too long. Liberia was a nation that was founded by African Americans who believed in their own abilities, their own strengths, and their own direction. They left these shores and went to Africa amid the different issues and problems that we had among ourselves in this nation. We left and went to Liberia to set up a new nation for ourselves and our prosperity. But in doing so, it caused much stress to our race and our people of the United States of America. We fought each other intellectually, physically, and spiritually against colonization and separation of our people from these shores of the United States of America. Despite what eventually occurred for us to leave this nation, it happened. And for nearly 200 years, we stayed in Africa, fighting to build a nation that we could call our own. And today, despite our shortcomings and our shortfalls, many of us have returned to the United States of America for a hopeful life and new beginnings. And while we are here, it is very important that African Americans and Americo-Liberians set aside our differences, our idiosyncrasies, and come together to forge a better understanding of each other, a better need to assist each other here and in Africa, and a better direction for all of our posterity. My class this morning will start the spreading of this message to African Americans and Americo-Liberians in this nation, so that we can come together and understand the greater purpose of our need for unity, progress, and advancement amongst ourselves here in America and on the African continent in the Republic of Liberia. Welcome to my show. Please pay attention, and I hope that you will make comments that will create a better understanding as I explain the issues of our group, our nations in Liberia and in America, and what we hope to achieve through this meeting. I thank you for listening, and I hope that when you leave here today, you leave with a better understanding of why we need to create a better sense of unity, solidarity, and understanding between African Americans and Americo-Liberians. I thank you. Well, we're back. So, my guest, hold on 1 minute, please. Mr. Chad T. Mason.
Yes, sir.
A few minutes to introduce yourself to my viewers.
Hello, viewers. How you guys doing? My name is Chad T. My name is Chad Mason. No, Chad T. Mason is my middle name, my middle initial. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I moved here in Massachusetts in 2019 just to get a fresh start. You know, move up here with friends, and I work for a company called AmeriLife, and I enjoyed it. It's an insurance company, and I went to school in Burke, Virginia. That's where I went to college at. Went to Liberty University, got my associates at Central Virginia Community College, business degree. And that's a little bit about myself so far. And that's what I do. And I also work part-time at a restaurant. So if you guys ever need Medicare insurance, please let me know.
Make sure you get that in.
If you guys need some insurance or any kind of, you know, I'm helping Jeff out as well. If you need Medicare, if you're 65, you need Medicare kind of insurance, give me a call. I can give you my number right now. It's 434.
But that little chat.
We'll do that. Okay.
Yeah, when you give me your farewell message, we can talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We'll talk later. Okay.
Yeah, I think you better send me a check for American Life too.
Okay.
He said, okay, yeah, right. Okay, Chad, so you listen to the video. What's your view about it?
I think it's interesting. I just started learning about Liberia and that the fact, I know this is sad, but I should have learned this a long time ago. But I'm just now learning about the fact that blacks actually left America when slavery ended and went back to Liberia. I think that's interesting. I'm not too familiar with the culture over there, but I'm just starting to learn this. I think it's interesting. I'm from the South here in America. I grew up here in America, and I think it's interesting. I do. I mean, I find it fascinating.
Yeah, Chad. Many people don't know we have the similar cultures.
We might have the similar cultures. You never know. We might. I think it's an interesting fact. I never knew that, but I don't know. Pretty interesting.
You remember the last time you and I were talking when we first met? I told you, I said you might have some cousins in Liberia.
You never know.
Because there are a lot of Masons there too.
You never know. I could.
Liberians came from all over America, especially the South. Some came from the northern area, even Rhode Island. Some came from Rhode Island and went to Liberia.
Wow.
You see, so we have people from all over and from different families. There are historical letters from slave owners to the people in Liberia, or slave owners giving the people freedom if they return to Liberia. So there's a whole lot of history in this country, man. Even my family came from Monticello.
Okay.
Thomas Jefferson Plantation. My great-great-grand aunt was Sally Hemings. You ever heard about her?
No, I have not.
She has 6 children for Thomas Jefferson.
She had 6 children
for Thomas Jefferson.
Wow. And
they just accepted the fact through DNA that they are Thomas Jefferson children. And that's why they invited all of us there last year. We're over 600 from all the Thomas Jefferson clan everywhere. So we're there representing the Freemans from the Sally Hemings family.
Mm-hmm.
You see, she was my aunt, and after she had her children, her other sister had their children, and that all became related, and they had a whole list of families, man. I come from the Freeman, and where I come from, I think forgetting my thing, man. I had it around my mind just slipped my mind. A Covet Freeman family. So my family was one of the families from Alice, one is Sally Hemings' sister.
Okay.
Mary. My family came from Mary. So she's my aunt. And you wouldn't believe that Thomas Jefferson's whole family were mixed with black people.
I believe that. I've heard that.
Yeah, his uncle was the first. All of us come from Mary Hemings, who was the eldest and married Thomas Jefferson. She didn't marry him. He took her to be his concubine. But she was high light. She was almost like she could pass for white. But she was black. So he took her, and from her came Sally Hemings and 5 other children.
Wow.
And the uncle died and turned her over to Jefferson. And I think she had children by Jefferson too. So the whole change of the debacle, dysfunctional familyhood goes down all the way in line, all the way to Africa, man.
Yeah.
Well, but it was for them to acknowledge that we're from Africa there.
Say that again, Jeff. What'd you say?
It was good that the Thomas Jefferson Foundation acknowledged that we were from Liberia and part of. There's a room now in Thomas Jefferson house at the bottom, in the basement, called the Sally Hemings room.
Okay.
From there, it traced the history of us coming from Liberia to Sally Hemings. So anytime you go to Monticello and go in the basement area to all the rooms down there where they got the kitchen and all of that, one of the rooms there is they turn it into Sally Hemings' room because the foundation came to the greater understanding that Sally Hemings people not only from America, we sent to Liberia. So they put that room in there. And they had pictures of people, our great grand aunts, and everybody from Liberia in that room. So that's an expansion of our history. Now you know.
Wow. You know, when I met you, you told me you're from Liberia, and one of my bosses, like, yeah, Liberia is when the Africans left America and went back to Africa. And I was like, I just, I thought it was shocking.
Your boss is white.
Huh?
She's white.
Yeah. Yeah. I said, I should know this. She goes, I know more about you, more about it than you do. I said, what? So I've heard of the slave ship, the slave ship that went over here. I was thinking it was more like the slave ship. Amistad. I'd heard Amistad that came here.
You see, there are two groups of black people, and we all related. One group of us went to Sierra Leone, which is right next to Liberia, but it's a British colony. Those were the people that fought for the British during the Revolutionary War in America. After we beat the British and they had to leave, the slaves were saying, "Oh, you can't leave us here. They will kill us. There will be retribution. There will be retaliation. You got to take us." So they said, "Okay, let's go." They took them to Nova Scotia, to a place called Shelby, Nova Scotia. But that place, man, you go to Shelby, there's nothing there, man. It's all barren, nothing but rocks. You can't grow nothing there, even to today. And that way they put all those people there. So they had to fend for their own food. And they had no houses, nothing. What they slept in were pit houses. You ever heard about pit houses? Pit houses, they dug the ground because they didn't give them no blankets or anything for the cold. And Canada is colder than America. So when they got there, they had nothing. They dug the ground deep enough, like 6 feet, where the ground became warm. As you dig the ground, it becomes warmer because we're on the top cold. But as you go in the earth is warm. So they dug down about 6 feet, and that way they would put their blankets and everything, and they had some zinc shack over the pit, and those were called pit houses. And that way they lived during the winter, summer, everything. Can you imagine? No blankets, nothing. They just had what they could fend for.
And this is the country beside Liberia?
Yeah, Sierra Leone. These are the people. The people, they were in Canada first. So after they took them to Canada, there was nothing there. So they started complaining again, telling the British, "No, you can't leave us here. Just send us to Africa. You can't give us nothing good." So the British said, "Okay, we'll send you to Africa." And Sierra Leone was one of the first British colonies. That way they sent all the African Americans that fought for the British. They have a great legacy too. They started one of the first colleges in Africa called the Four Bay College. And it was spread through all the British colonies through Africa. That was the headquarters of the British colony, Sierra Leone. And from there, we had the great spokesman who you ever heard about. Well, I'm not sure you haven't heard about Edward Whitman Blyden. He was an African American who went to Sierra Leone, where he went to Liberia first, and he educated himself. Then he went to Britain, to the British colony, Sierra Leone. When he got there, he was so educated that people made him schoolmaster for the whole colony. And he was from Liberia, an African American, but he was a troublemaker. Every time he came to Liberia, he raised hell with Liberian people for the dysfunctional lives and bad politics and all that. Then they would run him out of the country. They won't kill him. He would run to Sierra Leone. As soon as he get there, the British see him. They would put him on top of the schools again to head the school system. But he kept going back and forth. He ran for president of Liberia. But we have a rich history. And these are the things we got to bring to the table so our people know that African Americans don't only exist here. We have a rich history that is transatlantic, Pan-African. So now that you know the conversation, how do you feel about this relationship?
I think it's educational, and I think it's interesting, and I'm fascinated that you know, we came as blacks here to America with, we left everything behind, and then to go back to the country to start over again is hard, but to accomplish the things that we did in Liberia, that's a big step. That's just it's not as big as most other nations, other countries, but to do what we did as black people, to do what we did, that's an accomplishment within itself.
We barely no education, we build a nation.
Yeah. That's hard. But to do what we did, even if it's not a whole lot, I don't know how Liberia is now. I need to study it a little bit more, but it's impressive. That shows you that we're gifted. God has blessed us.
He has.
God has blessed us, and to be able to do that. So we went from scratch with nothing to go back to another country, start over. That shows you how gifted we are. And then, yeah, I mean, that's just interesting.
So how you feel about us reuniting this whole relationship? Maybe it never existed. Maybe it only existed in some corners where African Americans relate to it. Because I know people from Liberia who come here every year for family reunion. And they have family reunion with African Americans. But it's not widely known. And this is where we got to start to reignite that kind of spirit, because we need help on both sides of the ocean. African Americans need help here. We need help in Liberia. And we have gifted people on both sides of the aisles that can work together and make things happen.
I think it takes us. You have black people here that are up to top. I think if we came together, we number one, we can't forget where we came from. We got to help each other out. No matter how successful you are, how much money you have, we all need to help each other out and support one another. And we just learn from each other's ideas. And I think you have, I'm open-minded. Me, I'm open-minded. I'm here now, trying to study this. I'm learning. So you need more black Americans to just be more. I think a lot of times we forget where we come from. We want to, especially if we're rich, we're famous, we're celebrity, we just up here, forget about those, I don't know. That's just what I'm assuming. I don't know how people think, but I'm just assuming that some of them might forget about those Africans. Who cares if they, I'm up here at the top now. I said, no, let's help one another. Let's bring one to the top with us. We can help, encourage one another. We might even be related. You never know. We might.
I told you might have some cousins in Liberia.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, I think it's interesting. I'm learning. So it's a learning process for me.
So if you believe in this concept that we should reignite this relationship, how do you suggest we begin?
I think we should reunite. Like what we're doing now, little things like this.
Talking
about it. Socializing, Facebook. You can hey, Liberia, you can broadcast it on Facebook, Twitter, just different things like that. Social media. There's a lot of ways you can do it. This is a small. What we're doing now, small steps.
We just need a committed group of people.
Yes.
That believe in it, first of all.
Exactly.
Want to engage in it.
Yes. And that's how it starts. I would like to go there one day. Now that we're talking about it now.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. Anytime.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, and we'll hear your message before we close the show, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Today we're dealing with our boys in the
Americo from Fit First RI, located at 1655 Elmwood Ave. Princeton, Rhode Island. We take care of all your personal training needs. We have 7 trainers here, including 2 boxing trainers. So whatever your goals, we can help you out. Come through, hit us up, 401-588-9517. We are Fit First RI on Instagram and all social media platforms.
So, Chad, now that we've had this delightful conversation about our connections,
Okay.
what's your closing message?
My thoughts and message. I feel like what we're doing is a good thing, Duff. I feel like reaching out, communicating with other blacks in the community. It don't have to be blacks. It can be all kind, like you said, Thomas Jefferson had many kids. So it's like, you never know. I mean, it can be on both sides. So
he had an African side too.
He had an African side too. So you never know. Bloodline could be on both sides. So just my message is just to keep doing what you're doing, reaching out. I think it's a positive show. And for all the viewers out there, just stay positive and keep your head up, and just keep doing what you're doing. And that's all I got to say.
Spread the message.
Spread the message.
Well, Chad, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, that's pretty much it.
Chad, thank you for being my guest this morning. I really appreciate it. And I hope my viewers got the message from you too. You weren't so knowledgeable about everything in our racial historical background.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still learning. It's a learning process.
You're willing to accept, and that's a beginning too.
Yeah.
When you're willing to, some people dismiss it. Oh, it never happened. It never happened. I was telling my viewers one time before, when I started this program first, that I was in school in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University. And I was dating this lady, and we went to visit her parents. And her mother swore that Tarzan was the king of Africa. I could not get that woman to do away with that ideal.
She watched a lot of Disney movies, huh?
Oh, man. I mean, it really hurt me because I just come from Africa with all this thing about African unity and all they need to sit right here, a black woman or older woman who should know better telling me that Tarzan is in Africa. And, it bugged me. I got used to it. I changed my idea, but I broke up with a girl and all.
She said, you say Tarzan. Are you talking about the white Tarzan or the
Tarzan? She said he was king of Africa. And I went, what? King of Africa? That just showed how blind she was. He got that extreme blind. She didn't even know about the colonization of Africa, about Britain and France and all these kind of, because that's where the whole concept of Tarzan came from. They made that book to exemplify some sort of superiority. This white man coming to Africa. But it wasn't her alone, Chad. I told the story how I was in the army, and 2 white brothers came to me. They said, man, Chesson, no disrespect, man, but we want to ask you a question. So I said, yeah, I suspected where they were going, but what's happening in Africa. So I said, yeah, no problem, ask me, guys. So one of them said, is Tarzan in Africa? So he said, yeah. I said, let me jest with him a little bit. So I said, yes, he's in Africa. I said, one day I was coming from work, me and my boys, all dressed up. We saw this half-naked white man swinging in the trees in the street, in the middle of the street. He was swinging from tree to tree. So we pulled him down, spanked him, and told him to go home and put on some clothes. And these boys just stood there, they look at me. They look at each other. Then they look at me. I was smiling the hell yeah. Then they bust out laughing. They said, no, trust me, no. I said, you guys need to learn. And I just left and walked away. But that was so funny. That just show you it's not only among us. It's a great misunderstanding of African people.
Yes.
Across the spectrum.
And I think it's social media too. It's not social media. It's Hollywood movies that give them that perspective that's American.
Yeah, it's how it is portrayed.
But it's also common sense too. You should know. It's common sense. You should know that blacks. I don't know. It's a lot of common sense that involved in that too.
Especially when you mix with blacks every day. You talk with blacks every day for everybody to work. Then you come and tell me, "Oh, do you live in the trees?" Yeah, if I live in the tree, I should be having a good time in this country. I got a lot of trees here. I should have my tree house, don't you think? But anyway, Chad, we could go on like this and on and on and on. But at some point, we got to stop and put in the focus.
Yeah.
They said, no, we got to set this historical misinformation correct so that it benefits us. And it's not a question of whether we accept this person or we're going to tolerate them, but we know more of them. So the question of tolerating or accepting is not an issue because where the doubt's supposed to be is filled with knowledge and understanding.
Yep.
Capiche?
Capiche.
Have a good morning, my brother.
I want to say this too before I get off. For those who are watching, I don't know if any viewers are living in Rhode Island or Mass. And if, like I said before I started, if you know anybody or need any kind of assistance with your life insurance or health, Medicare, please reach out to me and let me know, okay? All right. And my number is 434-426-9493.
Okay, Chad, you got it. I'll talk to you, bro.
All right, baby. Bless. I'll see you later, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was my guest, Mr. Chad T. Mason. I'm sorry we started our show late. There was a problem with connecting him with the internet and all of that. So we got rid of that. I hope you enjoy the show. It's time to vamoose and go. Until the Commander Americo-Liberians Chesson Talk Show is done. I'm out of here. Aluta continua. Have a good day, my people. See you when I see you. How long has this business been in operation?
We've been in business for about 5 years now.
How has the cooperation of the community been?
It's been pretty much supportive, not just Africans, but also our brothers and sisters of the African American community also been supportive, as well as other African and even other nationalities. So far, so good. grateful for them having a lot of support from different ethnic groups and different nationalities.